Hi there, my name's Kieran Baker. I'm the co-founder of Direct Software. And today we're talking about why you should never have to send over some information to a prospect. So you've decided to make an outbound call, a cold call. You've successfully kept the prospect on the phone long enough to hear your pitch and maybe even engage in answering some questions. Now your ask is coming at the end of the call. Maybe you're asking for time to book in a second call. Maybe it's a face-to-face meeting. Maybe you even ask for the sale on the first call. The ask doesn't matter. What actually matters is that the prospect knows you're going to ask for something. And this is where a lot of people lose control in the call. It goes without saying that the majority of prospects are going to decline when you make your ask. But interestingly, very few people do this bluntly and succinctly. If you've been making a fair few cold calls recently, you'll probably have found that one of the most common objections or conclusions to the call is, well, thanks for your time, I'm pretty busy, but if you send me over some information, I'll take a look over it and give you a call back if I'm interested. Now, the beginner cold call makes the mistake of giving up control and agreeing to just blindly send over some information there and then. They'll type up a few lines on an email about how they're looking forward to hearing what the prospect thinks. And this stage at the beginning could feel like a success, but it isn't. They sold you failed to sell them. And you soon realize that 99% of these people never call back. You're sort of left wondering why you spent time on the phone in the first place. And this can lead to some serious frustration. But most importantly, it wastes a lot of time writing up your emails and following up with people who aren't interested in your product or service. Fortunately, with focused planning, you can learn to preempt this objection and you can overcome it like a pro. The most important step is to understand why the prospect is asking for the information. It's not actually because they desperately want to read your welcome pack or your brochure. It boils down to the fundamental problem that they've never spoken with you before. And no matter how bold your claims are on the call, you haven't built up enough credibility for them to agree to give you their time. So the easiest, most effective way to combat this problem without trying to strong arm them into trusting you on the call is to have taken steps long before the call even begins, which allows you to then handle the objection with some calmness and ease. Because if you know the objection's coming again and again, then why would you not prepare for it? So a proper email marketing campaign in conjunction with your cold calling allows you to build up credibility before you start the call, and it saves you from having to give in and send information on the day that you know probably isn't going to be replied to. The problem most managers have when they're trying to implement this is that most software won't allow you to send emails to cold prospects. But using direct software means you can have sent every prospect in your list an email before you decide to pick up the phone. And so now the call stays controlled by you, because when they ask and the line comes to send them over some information, it makes total sense to say, I'd be more than happy to do that. If you could just check your inbox for me, you'll see I've actually sent you 3 emails over the last couple of weeks. Now, would it be fair to say that you're probably a very busy person and another email probably isn't going to make much difference now? Rather than take the 15 minutes to read through more information, could we just organize a time to actually sit down and go through together how this would help you? When works better for you? Later today or early tomorrow? Now, the reason this approach works is because the logic is clear, the ask is very strong, and the control remains with you. You're closing rather than selling. In a very calm and professional way, you're calling out the idea that the prospect is going to give you a call back. You reinforce that both your time is actually going to be better spent sitting down together and having a conversation. Now, this isn't a magic bullet that's going to work every time, and there's still a lot of prospects out there who, by their very nature, will take longer to close. They might still demand an additional step before booking in the meeting. But if this is the case, you're still in a much stronger position by having your email campaign in place, because it allows you to then follow up with, okay, if that's better for you, I can absolutely send you over another email. Let me ask you though, given the last email didn't catch your attention, what should I make sure I include in this next one that you've got your focus on and that would help you make sense of booking the meeting? If you can't close the prospect on the first call, this is a much stronger position to be in going into your second call, because you've gathered more information, and you've reinforced the idea that you have a solution to one of their problems that they've got their attention on, and it means it's worth them taking the meeting. So you're still controlling the close. You're asking questions which require engagement with you, and this ensures they've got their attention on you. You're able to stay completely calm and professional. It's important to remember to keep the focus on them and their business needs, rather than being unproductive because they won't give you your time. Most importantly though, this approach can be replicated on every single call. And generally it's a good rule of thumb to follow that if you can't use something on every call, don't use it on any. The more practice you have, the more natural this becomes, and obviously you can start to tailor and tweak the wording to make sure it fits your pitch. But the fundamental idea remains the same. What I haven't mentioned yet, and possibly the most important part of our system, is that by using this approach, you also start your day with replies already in your inbox from people on your list who are interested, and they're in the office at that moment in time. The reason this happens so consistently with direct is you're guaranteed to contact every prospect in your list much faster than you could manually. I hope this brings you value, and to make sure you never have to send over some information again, give us a call at Direct Software so we can help you deal with that objection for good. Thanks.